welcome. I'm Lindsay from Mystic Haven Acres, and this is my podcast, Living for Real. Thanks for joining me. I'm here to share my experiences as someone who never quite fit in and shed some light on life's simple and not so simple things. A single mama, born and raised in the GTA, now living a peaceful, rural, homesteading life with my kids and critters, and I can't wait to share with you some of the magic I have learned along the way. I pride myself in real living, real food, real conversations, and real experiences. So leave your preconceived notions at the door and buckle up. This free spirit is about to take you for an interesting ride. Hey, and welcome back. It's truly amazing what life gifts you when you are open to receive it. I encourage you to listen through the backstory of this podcast to get to the revelation because I believe that it's worth it. Today was a day. It started like many recent days, trudging through copious amounts of muck and water, lugging water and hay to care for all the animals. And the whole time I'm thinking, why am I doing this? It's a question that has come up a lot this past week, maybe even 2 weeks. Here I am, a single mom of 3, working 2 part-time jobs and running the homestead with over what my daughter has counted to be over 60 animals. We've got ducks, chickens, cows, goats, horses, dogs, cats, and rabbits. I think that's everything. And why? At least twice a day, every day, rain or shine, or snow or wind, no matter what the weather, you're out there caring for these animals. It's a commitment. Spring, though, is a trying time of year. The mud and the rain makes for hard work, harder than any other time of year, I think. And if it weren't for the new babies on the farm in the spring, I'm sure that I wouldn't keep doing it. But here I am. And this past week was full of trials and tribulations. On more than one occasion, I thought and even expressed to my kids that if someone walked in right now with the right amount of money and not even probably what it's actually all worth, I would walk away. I would go buy a house in town somewhere and I would get a quote unquote normal job and go live a quote unquote normal life without all of this headache. Speaking of headaches, which I have been prone to since I was a young kid, so I'm used to it. But this past week, I had a headache that just wouldn't go away. It was on and off for 5 days. I ran out of painkillers and, thanks to living too far from anywhere for it to be worthwhile to try and get some, I didn't. That and the fact that they usually don't work anyways. But typically when the pain drags on for days on end like this, I usually at least give it a try and cross my fingers, but I couldn't. That all said, with my upcoming surgery, I'm not supposed to be taking anything of that nature. And it has also caused my to-do list in order to prep for my kids and my homecoming, as I'm in a state of recovery, to be longer than usual. And of course, is adding to my already elevated state of stress, which is probably the source of the headache. So to my story. My son had his hockey banquet in town this evening. town is just shy of an hour away, so we try to make the most of our trips in. We headed in early in order to take care of some errands before the party, which we actually did really well with today and accomplished a great number of things. That said, I was ready to blow a gasket by the end of it. It started with not one, but two Sunday drivers, if you know what I mean, driving well below the speed limit on our way to the dump and then to town. And yes, I know I am the person that encourages everyone to slow down in life. But let's face it, we all have those days when you are on a mission and slowing down to smell the roses eludes us, right? So our first stop, we found exactly what we needed right away, which unfortunately caused me to forget something on my list because I got so excited and distracted and picked it up and left, and was later unable to get it elsewhere without backtracking or making another stop. So we went without. The second stop was uneventful, but then my snowball grew. As we were leaving the parking lot, someone almost backed out into me. And minutes later at our next stop, the cashier asked me for some information. They had a loyalty program that was connected to your phone number. And so she asked if I was a member of the loyalty program. And then, of course, for my phone number. Now, I never changed my phone number when we moved up north. And essentially everyone here has the same area code, but I don't. And so when I have to give my phone number, I'm always very clear. And I've learned to say area code and give my area code. And so I did that. And she looks me straight in the face and says, 705? And so I repeat myself calmly, no, area code. And once again, I give her my area code. To which she continues to look me in the face and ask, 705? So at this point, my insides are starting to boil because I've already had a bit of a day and now I'm just really struggling to keep it together. But I mean, she was being polite. She was genuinely confused, I guess. And so I didn't want to blow up at this woman. So I repeated myself again, stuffing my frustration down inside of me. I guess I have trouble with people not listening. Anyways, next we were off to the bank. I went through the drive-thru. And perhaps I should have known better and saved myself the aggravation, but I didn't. And this particular machine has given me trouble for probably the past 2 months now when scanning my check deposit. Typically, after the second or even third try, it manages to scan my check and the deposit happens. But this particular day, I tried, I want to say 5 times. And while I'm doing this, more and more cars are lining up behind me. So I give up. And now I'm even more frustrated and boiling on the inside. So, lucky for everyone, including myself, the branch is closed. So I go to the instant teller machine inside, which reads my check without issue, and my deposit is done. But I am still fuming. So I go back to my truck and I find a piece of paper and I think to myself, I'm going to leave them a note because this has been like 2 months now and nobody has fixed this machine. This is a little bit ridiculous. So I write on my note, scanner in drive-through needs to be surfaced. Underline, exclamation point. And I take it back in and I slide it under that foldy wall, like the mall wall, door, wall, whatever. And I considered just phoning the branch and talking to a person and letting them know, but quickly realized, as I'm sure most of you would, that you can't actually talk to anybody at the branch by phoning the branch phone number. The branch phone number for the banks all gets directed elsewhere. So I didn't think there would be much point in phoning. Our next stop is uneventful, and we have a bit of time, so the kids had asked if we could stop at the dollar store to grab some gum and chocolate bars, and I thought, why not? I could go for a chocolate bar. I'm feeling a little bit hangry at this point. So after we get our treats, we get back in the truck and we head over to the restaurant where the banquet is being held. However, this particular restaurant has 2 locations in town, and because of the day that I'm having, of course, I go to the wrong location. Wonderful. So we get back in the truck and now we're late. Now we're late for the banquet because we've got to drive all the way across town to the other location. On the way to the other location, I encounter a person that apparently doesn't know how a 4-way stop works. I was the first one to the stop sign, which means I'm the first one to go. And as I cross the intersection, they decide to start driving and nearly hit me. Wonderful. What else could possibly happen today, I think to myself. And then my ex-mother-in-law phones. And I couldn't. I was so done. I did not have the energy to entertain that particular day, and I hit ignore. So we finally get to my son's banquet, and of course someone asks how I am, as is a normal conversation to have when, you arrive somewhere and meet people. And in the state that I'm in, I respond with, I'm ready to go home. It's been a day. And of course, they look at me like, oh dear. And I think to myself, Lindsay, what the heck? Like, that is no way to greet people. Stop it. So I excuse myself and go to the table with all the food, and I fill my plate and sit down and eat because I feel like at this point I must be hangry. Thankfully, I chill out. I actually have a nice chat with some of the other parents, and then we head home. And as I'm driving home, I put the audiobook on that I'm currently listening to, and I wonder to myself, what have I put out into the universe to attract the day that I just had? What have I done to deserve this day? And I couldn't come up with anything. There was nothing like blatantly obvious. So we get home, and thankfully my kids were a massive help. It was late and everybody was tired, but I still had to do chores. And so they unloaded the truck and put all the groceries away, which was awesome. And thankfully, I remembered that the batteries in my headlamp were dying and I was getting sick of struggling to see in the dark. So before I went out, I changed the batteries in my headlamp, and that made my night chores a little bit more positive. I went out to do my chores, and you know what? I didn't feel stressed. I didn't feel irritated. I didn't feel annoyed or defeated, or I didn't feel anything negative. The mud hadn't changed. It was late. I was tired. It was dark and wet. But it was honestly the most enjoyable chores that I had done in well over a week. What was this? And then it hit me. After I was all done and relaxing on the couch, I chatted with a couple of friends, and that was when it hit me. I love my life. I love my animals, and I love my farm. And I actually am very happy here. I feel very at peace here. And what I realized is that I had been taking it all for granted. The past 2 weeks, I was just angry and frustrated and miserable and wishing that, things were different. But I know deep down that I wouldn't be happy in the city or suburbia. I know that. And not only do I know it, but I know that I know it. And when things got hard this week, when the stress got to be too much and the headache plagued me day after day, I forgot. I forgot how much I loved it. I forgot how much I wanted it. I had forgotten so much that I was ready to give up. I was ready to throw the towel in. The universe is so freaking powerful, you guys. Some of you will call that God, source, whatever. Whatever it is that you believe in, just please believe in it. Trust in it. Have faith. And be open to the guidance. Receive the messages. You might not understand in the moment. And this is where the slowing down piece helps so much. When you pause, reflect, without judgment or criticism, you will see the answers. If you have trouble slowing down, as so many people in today's world do, because slowing down goes against everything we are taught. Think about it. If you are someone that has trouble slowing down, that feels uncomfortable when you try to slow down, I encourage you to come join our community on Facebook. It's called Living for Real Community, and it's a safe space to learn, share, explore, and grow. I'm going to try and put the link in the show notes or in the comment section so that you can find it. And I do really hope to see you inside. Thank you once again so much for listening. And remember, all of the answers are there. All of the answers are available to us. It's just a matter of being able to hear them. We'll see you next time. I hope you have a beautiful day.
Thanks so much for listening in today. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review and share with your friends and family. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss upcoming episodes. And thanks again. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.